It is official, a live fire training exercise has gone awry, and an IRS agent has died during this training exercise. I believe the person who shot him was, in fact, an FBI agent. This is so fascinating because why is the IRS training with firearms? Why is the IRS training with live ammunition? And you should know by default that the people they are training to extort money from with their guns is you, the unwitting taxpayer. Let's go ahead and jump in and see what we've got. From the Wall Street Journal, an opinion piece that will set the precedent for the tone going forward for this segment. Meet the new IRS, same as the old IRS. Even with $80 billion in new funding and 87,000 new agents, the agency is as dysfunctional as ever. Anyways, moving on to something completely unrelated, an IRS agent has been fatally shot by another agent while they were training in a Phoenix gun range. An IRS agent was shot and killed by a fellow agent during a training exercise. The victim previously served 20 years with the Arizona National Guard. Bauer, who was a 47-year-old, leaves behind a wife and 4 children. Rest in peace, man. I can only hope that this family is able to come out on top of this. I can only imagine the weight on the shoulders of the person that inadvertently took the life of this person, realizing that they killed a father of 4 children. That's just absolutely tragic. Anyways, moving on. Officials confirmed that the victim, 47-year-old Patrick Bauer, was accidentally shot at a federal gun range on Thursday in Phoenix, Arizona. Bauer was taken to a local hospital where he died from his injuries. What the CBS investigator says is, our concern today is that the agent and their family are taken care of. Bauer was also a retired Master Sergeant with the Arizona Air National Guard, serving the 161st Refueling Wing Security Forces Squadron. The squadron posted a tribute to Bauer on Facebook. As can be expected, the military does this with many of their different brigades. On behalf of the men and women of the 161st, we express our deepest condolences to the family and friends and all those affected by the passing of IRS Special Agent, retired Master Sergeant Patrick Bauer. The statement said Bauer retired in 2016 over the 20 years of service with the 161st Security Forces. Your services to our state and nation will be greatly missed. Bauer leaves behind a wife and 4 children. That's just tragic, man. I hope they're able to fill that void. Our hearts go out to Master Sergeant Bauer's family, friends, and all those who had been privileged to work with him. His service to the state and the nation will be forever remembered. The FBI is investigating Bauer's death and will turn over the findings to the U.S. Attorney's Office. We are experiencing the shock of all of this, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Robinson said, who had known Bauer for nearly a decade. He was an incredible human being and a great leader. The tragic incident comes month after many questioned, why does the IRS agents need more guns? Why do they need guns? Why do they need firearms? Who knows? It's almost like they're going to be using them to extort them from citizens. It's almost like in the process of having people who aren't trained and understand firearms and you're going to be giving them to people, which we will see in just a second, that will lead to the death of innocent people. Moving on. The agency's long-standing criminal investigation division conducts potentially dangerous investigatory work and was previously responsible for bringing down mob boss Al Capone in the 1930s, which Al Capone, they didn't even actually get him on the charges that they wanted to. They wanted to get him on murder charges as well as selling things like moonshine and firearms, but what they could get him on legally was tax evasion. So that's what they went for him with, and that's a perfect example of how the government will use anything that they want so that they can go after someone to achieve their own end. Because as long as they can use the law as their government watchdog, then they'll go after anyone. IRS agent fatally shot during training exercise at North Phoenix Range. Again, this was like an article that dropped right when this first happened. Genuinely tragic, gave almost no information whatsoever. It says, a spokesperson from the IRS Phoenix office told it and confirmed special agents were participating in an exercise at the firing range when the shooting happened. And that's effectively all it tells you, and they haven't really given out too much information so far except for what I've gone through about who the man is. We don't know who the shooter is. We don't know about the nature of how trained they were, how proficient they were as a shooter, if they'd ever handled firearms before, how consistently they'd handled firearms before. Were they someone who was an expert? Were they someone who was training the course? Were they someone who was being trained? We're really not sure. No information was really given on this to actually explain. Let's go ahead and jump in and see what's going on with this pathetic IRS training video. From Parker Jones, with training like this, it's no wonder that the IRS agent got shot. The real question we should be asking is, why the hell does an IRS agent need a gun? Look at how sloppy this is. The level of unprofessionalism here is genuinely stunning. The fact that these are the people that the federal government that heralds over us, that spends $6 trillion a year, the fact that these are the people that they hire is kind of insane. It makes you wonder if the quality of hire has gone down, or if the fact that they just don't care because the federal government and the people that run it have become even more laughable, and that would be the fact that, well, they're artificial elites, and because they themselves are less impressive people than the people who constructed the establishments themselves, then the people that they bring on to be their lowers and their stewards, by default, will already be less impressive. Which, this is what happens when you have the process of artificial elites running a society. And this is also what happens due to the simple process of strong men make good times make weak men make hard times, and hard times make strong men. That's simply what this is. But honestly, when you look at this training video, it makes you wonder, is this the best that the government has? And if so, it should really bolster your thought that, you know, maybe the people that run the government are less impressive than you would imagine. This is quite fascinating. Let's get into this absolutely pathetic IRS training video. He is in a wheelchair. He is in a wheelchair with a Glock and a bulletproof vest. That is who they are going to send to your front door to say you forgot to spend an extra 18 cents to pay the IRS.
All right, there's good. You can do your line up there.
Look at how uncouth and untrained these people are. There's no proper structure to this.
Everybody here? All right, you're all ready? Guns out.
Wearing IRS body armor. This guy doesn't even need body armor. He's got enough padding as is. So they're practicing breaching a door. Not even a proper breach. And also, at what instance would this actually be training for anything? You'll see they're going to walk into a completely empty room. Why would the IRS be training for this scenario? There is no tactical use to this approach whatsoever. And they're just walking up to people in an open room, multiple agents, guns drawn, over presumably that you didn't pay the audit that they demanded you run through? Fascinating. The fact that this was the first video that I thought of when I heard the news should say everything. As we saw from that little opinion piece, 87,000 new agents, but still the same old dysfunctional agency.
I have a gun. I have a permit. It's legal.
Can we take your weapon, please?
Well, if you're going to ask me, I don't know. I'm going to say no.
All right.
I'm getting arrested?
Do you have any other weapons on you?
No.
This is just mind-blowingly
Can
sad.
you please put your hands behind your back?
Look at how this person is holding the gun. Look at how this person right here is holding the firearm. Why is your finger on the back of the slide? Look at how her wrist is positioned. These people know nothing about firearm etiquette. And these are the motherfuckers that the U.S. government will be giving guns so that they can go and get your tax dollars. And what will happen? It will inadvertently lead to the death of innocent people, much like it did to the man who no longer has the capacity to be a father to 4 children. Genuinely fucking unreal. That's all I've got for this. Go ahead, thumbs up if you liked it, a thumbs down if you didn't. Share this with someone if you enjoyed it. And don't forget, fuck the IRS. Peace out.